The year 2026 opens with heightened tension across the Taiwan Strait. China's military drills now simulate full-scale blockades and amphibious assaults on Taiwan, with PLA aircraft and warships regularly crossing the median line and encircling the island. These actions signal Beijing's growing military confidence and determination to assert its claim over Taiwan. In response, the United States has ramped up support for Taiwan, sending advanced weapons and military advisors to bolster the island's asymmetric defenses. American involvement is a careful balancing act, strengthening Taiwan's deterrence without provoking open conflict. Each Chinese drill is met with a U.S. or Taiwanese countermove, including U.S. carrier groups transiting the strait and Taiwan scrambling jets to intercept PLA incursions. The result? A strait crowded with military hardware, where a single miscalculation could spark a crisis. This cycle of action and reaction has become the new normal in the Indo-Pacific. China demonstrates its readiness to act on its territorial claims, while the U.S. signals its commitment to Taiwan's defense and regional stability. For Taiwan's 23 million people, this is not an abstract contest. It's a daily reality shaping their lives and future. The military posturing is a high-stakes form of communication, with each side testing the other's resolve. The U.S. aims to deter aggression, but not to trigger a premature conflict. The security environment is precarious, with both sides preparing for scenarios that could escalate rapidly. The world watches, aware that the fate of Taiwan could reshape the global order. The shadow of potential conflict looms larger than ever. Taiwan is far more than a political flashpoint. It's a linchpin of the global economy. Home to TSMC, Taiwan produces over 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductor chips, powering everything from smartphones to military systems. Any disruption to this supply would send shockwaves through global industries, triggering economic turmoil worldwide. Geographically, Taiwan sits at the heart of the first island chain, containing China's navy and controlling access to the Pacific. If China controlled Taiwan, it could project power deep into the Pacific, threatening key shipping lanes and allied bases. Taiwan's rugged terrain and fortified defenses make invasion daunting, forcing military planners to weigh immense costs. The island's porcupine strategy aims to make any attack prohibitively expensive for Beijing. Taiwan's significance is both economic and strategic. Its fate is central to the U.S.-China rivalry and global stability. Instability here is not just a regional issue, but a global one. Preserving the status quo is a core interest for nations worldwide. For Beijing, unifying Taiwan is a core national mission, tied to the legitimacy of the Communist Party. China's military modernization now gives it the means to act, but it prefers gray zone tactics, coercion short of war. These include near-daily airspace incursions, cyber attacks, economic pressure, and disinformation campaigns to wear down Taiwan's resolve. A full invasion would risk crippling sanctions and domestic instability, so Beijing seeks to make resistance seem futile and intervention too costly. The goal forced Taiwan to negotiate on Beijing's terms without firing a shot. Constant drills and psychological pressure are designed to erode the will to fight in both Taipei and Washington. China's strategy is patience and relentless pressure, hoping to achieve unification without open conflict. Japan's pacifist constitution once limited its military, but the threat to Taiwan has triggered a dramatic shift. Japanese leaders now declare Taiwan's security vital to Japan's own, given its proximity to key sea lanes and trade routes. Japan is doubling defense spending, acquiring long-range missiles and reinforcing its southwestern islands near Taiwan. U.S. bases in Japan would be critical in any Taiwan conflict, making Japan an indispensable, yet vulnerable, ally. This new posture reflects a consensus. Japan can no longer rely solely on the U.S. for security. The transformation strengthens the U.S. alliance network, but also puts Japan in China's crosshairs. Japan's proactive stance adds complexity to the Taiwan dilemma, as any conflict would likely draw Japan in. The region's security architecture is being reshaped in real time, The US walks a tightrope in the Taiwan Strait, aiming to deter China without provoking war. Strategic ambiguity, refusing to say if it would defend Taiwan, has long been the policy, but China's growing power is testing its credibility. Washington must support Taiwan enough to deter aggression, but not so much that it triggers escalation or emboldens calls for independence. US alliance commitments, especially with Japan, mean any intervention would have far-reaching consequences. Failure to act would shatter US credibility. Overreaction could spark a wider war. The risk of miscalculation is ever present, with even minor incidents threatening to spiral. The challenge: demonstrate resolve, manage escalation, and keep communication with Beijing open. The stakes are global, and the margin for error is razor-thin. The US faces tough choices if conflict erupts over Taiwan. Direct intervention, deploying air and naval forces, would risk direct war with nuclear-armed China and heavy losses. A favored alternative armed Taiwan with asymmetric weapons, missiles, drones, sea mines, to make invasion too costly for Beijing. Another option: impose a distant blockade, cutting China off from vital trade, but risking global economic chaos. Most likely, the US would combine these strategies: arm Taiwan, provide intelligence, and strike from a distance if needed. The decision to intervene directly would depend on the situation and allied support, especially from Japan. Every option carries grave risks, and the calculus would be fast and complex. The US must weigh deterrence, escalation, and the potential for success in real time. Diplomacy is the world's best hope for avoiding disaster in the Taiwan Strait. The US and allies work to keep communication channels open with Beijing, managing crises and clarifying intentions. Building a broad coalition, Europe, Japan, Australia, signals to China that aggression would mean global isolation. International forums like the G7 reinforce the message: the status quo must not be changed by force. The goal isn't to solve the sovereignty dispute, but to manage competition peacefully and prevent escalation. Quiet, persistent diplomacy seeks guardrails, rules of engagement, cross-strait dialogue to reduce risk. These efforts are painstaking but essential to keeping the peace. The Taiwan dilemma is global, not just a US-China standoff. Europe now recognizes that conflict would devastate its economy, especially through chip shortages and disrupted trade. Major European powers have increased their diplomatic and naval presence in the Indo-Pacific, supporting peace and stability. India, wary of Chinese assertiveness, deepens ties with the US, Japan, and Australia through the Quad, shaping the regional balance. Australia, South Korea, and the Philippines also play key roles, adding deterrent value and complicating Beijing's calculations. Their collective stance transforms Taiwan from a bilateral dispute into a global test of the international order. United, these powers send a clear message: the world will not stand by if the region is plunged into war. Multilateral pressure complements US deterrence, strengthening the foundation for peace. Taiwan is the world's most dangerous flashpoint, a test of statecraft, deterrence, and diplomacy. The US and its allies must balance strong deterrence with efforts to avoid escalation, convincing Beijing that war's costs are too high. Overemphasis on military posturing risks provoking the very conflict everyone wants to avoid. Open communication, reassurance, and clear-eyed diplomacy are as vital as military strength. A war over Taiwan would be catastrophic, economically, militarily, and for humanity. The stakes are global. A misstep could shatter decades of peace and prosperity. The path forward is dual-track credible deterrence, relentless diplomacy, and constant crisis management. The fate of Taiwan and global stability depends on wise, restrained leadership in Washington, Beijing, and Taipei. The world remains on edge, hoping for a balance between power and peace. The next move could shape the century.